In northern Clark County, Washington, the rural city of Battle Ground is one step away from inner city life, a privilege for some, yet a challenge inside the area's only court system.
That's one of our biggest kind of friction points that we've had is we don't have as many services out here for folks.
Andrew Wheeler is Battle Ground's municipal court judge.
We have court here 1 day a week.
Serving not only Battle Ground, but the communities of Ridgefield and La Center, too. Many of Wheeler's cases, repeat offenders that at this point, he knows by name.
But they make up a disproportionate number of the cases that we have.
The reasons behind many of those cases, drug addiction, mental health challenges, even traffic violations.
For the folks that are in that part of the system, that 10%, it is very profound.
To try and change that, city leaders are now creating what's called a community court, a voluntary program for those with low-level offenses, giving them the option to enroll in support services like treatment or housing assistance instead of jail.
You're going to make this appointment on this specific day. You're going to get this evaluation before we see you again in 3 weeks.
Historically, people with low-level offenses have been required to travel to Vancouver for these types of services.
And that is difficult because, again, especially if you're dealing with folks who can't get a valid license, sometimes the only way they can access services is to drive, and then they rack up another misdemeanor.
But soon they'll be available right in the Battle Ground courtroom, adding another tool for the sole prosecutor in the area, Jill Carmy.
For some folks, jail is that rock bottom and suddenly they turn it around. But when you have underlying substance abuse and mental health issues, really that jail sanction is not addressing those underlying root causes.
I think it's great. It's a waste of time anyways.
Why do you say it's a waste of time?
It's a waste of time because, well, they gotta jail them, they gotta feed them, and then they just come out and just do the same thing over and over again.
Laura, who lives in Southwest Washington, knows exactly what that's like. She's been to jail more times than she can count.
I bet you a dozen times over the years, mostly on traffic.
Do you think if you had the option of community court, that would have helped you?
Probably. It kind of scares you into doing the right thing, Nobody wants to go to jail.
Others in Battle Ground have questions.
I think it's a wonderful idea in theory. My question to you would be, or to anyone proposing this, is what is the recidivism rate and do you get a cost benefit at the end of the program and how are you going to measure it?
Something that will happen as community court gets underway.
The biggest impact we're hoping to see as we study the results over a year or two is number one, reduced recidivism. But another goal for this program then is to free up court resources for truly taking to trial and prosecuting the more serious offenders that we have.
Like domestic violence cases and organized retail theft, charges Carmy says will not qualify for community court. Another move the city of Battle Ground is taking, banning homeless camping on public property.
City Battle Ground is a little delayed in all of this.
City Council passed the ordinance earlier this month, despite not having any unsanctioned campsites.
We're just trying to get ahead of the curve in the event that we see more of it and give some tools to our officers to figure out how to deal with that if in fact we do have some encampments that pop up.
It's only civil penalties, it's not criminal.
If someone is caught camping on public property in Battle Ground, they'll face a $100 fine. That amount doubles if caught again within a year.
It's another piece of the puzzle. There's no one single ordinance or law that's going to solve this problem. It's got to be a multifaceted approach. Community court is one of those. Telling people you can't stay here forever and camp on somebody's front yard is another one of those.
The community court is set to open in June. They've already hired someone to coordinate that process, and city attorneys are already identifying people who would qualify. For now, they are relying on grant money to fund it. The judge tells me he's anticipating a slow start, but hopes it will eventually reduce the number of times the same people show up in court over and over again, with the hope of ultimately making northern Clark County safer. All right, what are your thoughts on a community court? Do you think it's a good tool to have? Have you gone through a community court? And if so, what was the outcome? Let us know. Email the story at kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.